Long time no see, everybody. Yeah, we're back. Pub
Back.
Sports Radio, NBA closing time, Wednesday, December 30th. Ian Cameron, Connor Mack. Look, we're going to do the best we can breaking down these games, but it's who's in, who's out. It is just, and it's going to be like this, a daily headache all season long, trying to figure out who's playing. We've got just a few games on the card tonight, only 6 games. Let's start with Memphis-Boston. A lot of money on Memphis. They opened 9-point road dogs down to 5 now, 217 the total in this game. Of course, all kinds of potential absences. Well, absences for Boston. Jason Tatum questionable. Jeff Green, Tristan Thompson already ruled out. Of course, Kemba Walker already out for at least several more weeks. So Boston looking like they're going to be shorthanded, and they're on the second night of back-to-back games after an epic comeback against Indiana last night to split the back-to-back against the Pacers. Expended a lot of energy, and they're shorthanded. So I get it why people are on Memphis here. I could also see them being tired, and that shows up defensively. And I get it why the total has taken a hit down, but I think it's gone a little bit too far now. 224 down all the way to 216.5 in some spots. Memphis is struggling defensively. Boston, even the last couple of games, I didn't like what I saw from them at the defensive end of the court. I think now with the total down where it is, there's a little value over the total. So again, I'm keeping everything in the NBA small early in the season. I don't have any strong opinions for the most part, but I did bet a little over 216.5 here, Memphis-Boston. If you bet Memphis early, you probably got a good number and maybe the right side, but I'm not going to recommend it now at +5, although I couldn't touch Boston here, given their situation. What's your thoughts, Connor? Grizzlies and Celtics.
I'm with you. Yeah, and it's not official. Tatum's going to be out, right?
It's questionable, but
it's just questionable.
Yeah,
probably.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I still, even with the amount, I lean Celtics. I'm with you though. This total's gone down. Memphis, their defense. And one thing early on, the Celtics, I think with Kemba, they'll get better. You know, Brad Stevens is going to want to have them play a lot better defense. You know what I mean? He's that college coach, comes from college. He wants, but early on, they've given up some points. I think this one could sneak over the total. Don't love it. Like Ian said, I haven't bet it. And I'm keeping things small here in the beginning of the NBA. It's been a bit wild. These blowouts, we were talking about it earlier. they're just crazy. It seems like they're still in preseason. And kind of some going through the motions, not ready yet for this year. Some of these teams are back to back, not gelling. So there we go. Lean towards the over a little bit, and even the Celtics here, I'd lay it. Tatum, no Tatum.
All right, Milwaukee, Miami, back-to-back for these two teams after the Bucks just destroyed and laid waste to the Heat last night. Milwaukee -6 road favorites, 228 the total. I love what Eric Spoelstra said after the game. It looked like they had been thinking about this game for 80 days, talking about the Bucks. Yeah, you think? They beat you in the playoffs last year when you were all those expectations as number 1 seed winning the East, and they bounced you unceremoniously, dominated the Bucks. And you could tell Milwaukee was fired up clearly to play Miami. And it also fueled them that I think they lost to the Knicks over the weekend. And you could tell, it was just a perfect storm. Milwaukee was just firing threes left and right. And they just blitzed Miami from the perimeter in the first quarter to get that huge lead. And they never looked back from there. And of course, Miami was shorthanded. No Jimmy Butler, who will also be out tonight. He ain't coming back for the Heat in this game tonight. However, and I cashed with Milwaukee last night. Even without Jimmy Butler, I'd be inclined maybe to go the other way tonight and take Miami +6, because now it's their turn to make amends after an embarrassing night. It's the first time the Bucks have played on the second of back-to-backs as well this year. And the Bucks already have this pattern of, they play a really great game and then they don't play great the next one. They got their little revenge thing last night. Maybe they're chomping at the bit again tonight. Who knows? But I'll take the under on the shooting percentages we saw from the Bucks last night, particularly from 3-point range. So for me, it's going to be a small, I'm just going to wait because I think this number, again, people are going to react to Butler's absence. That's why this number has gone up from 5 to 6. So there's no rush to bet Miami. I'm going to wait it out right before kickoff, see if I can get even higher, maybe a 6.5 or even a 7 pops up. But regardless, I'm definitely looking toward Miami here tonight in a bounce back after last night's just hideous result. What's your thoughts, Connor?
Yeah, well, did they set the record or tied the record for threes, I guess, the Bucks last night?
They were, yeah. It was it was raining trays all over. Yeah. It was everybody getting involved, yep.
that doesn't happen again. It's not going to happen. I know some people, the Bucks are a great regular season team. I'm with you. Even without Butler, I think the Heat, and I'm going to wait. You got to wait till the very end here because I think this could maybe it gets 6.5. I like it even more. I'm going to take the Heat. Butler or no Butler. Butler would be better, but even without him, they got to play without him. I like it. Even if they don't win, this game should be closer. They should be, pissed off after last night, after getting blown out. Yeah, and Spence, you're right. With no fans, these teams, they just get behind by 10 or more, and the game's over. Yeah. Strange
It's an
thing to
excellent
see.
point. It's absolutely an
It's an
excellent
empty
point
arena. Yeah.
When you get down 10, 15, 20 points on your home floor with no fans, where's that energy to rally back and something to get you going, fired up, and say, hey, let's keep going, keep our head down, we can get back into this. All you have is your coach yelling at you. You don't have fans trying to, make noise and trying to get you back into it. That might matter. You could see teams where they just don't have that response level when they fall behind big at home because the fans aren't there to bolster the energy.
Yeah, I agree.
Something totally definitely to watch out for. We certainly saw evidence of that last night. Moving on down the card, we got Atlanta, Brooklyn. How about the undefeated Atlanta Hawks? What a start for this team. And I knew they'd be improved, but pretty impressive start, 3-0 straight up. They finally failed to cover. They did prove they weren't ready to lay double digits as they beat the Pistons the other night, but they didn't cover laying 10 in that game. But now they're back in a point spread range where I kind of like this Atlanta team. Getting points, 239 the total. I like Atlanta a little bit here, plus the points. I mean, Brooklyn, they have the looks of pace in themselves. They had that incredible start. They blew out Golden State, beat Boston down pretty good. But you're starting to see them now back-to-back losses, Charlotte and Memphis. I know they're going to have Kyrie and Kevin Durant back in there tonight against this Hawks team. But you know what I'm impressed with Atlanta is their improvement. We know they can score the basketball with Trae Young and company. We know that. High-octane team offensively that can flat out shoot the ball, shoot the rock. But where Atlanta has impressed me is their defensive play. They're actually second in the NBA right now in field goal percentage defense. I'm impressed by that. I didn't see that coming for this team. But, Lloyd Pierce was adamant, the head coach of Atlanta. We're going to be a better defensive team this year. We've focused on it. We've talked about it. And so far, they're preaching it right now, this Atlanta Hawks team. So I'm definitely impressed with what I've seen here. Steve Nash is still tinkering with combinations, trying to figure out things that work here. I'm going to grab Atlanta plus the points. Again, not convincingly, because you have to keep in mind, Atlanta's played Memphis. They played Detroit. They played Chicago. It's not like they played anybody close to as good as Brooklyn yet. But I'm going to grab the points for a small play because, again, Atlanta, to me, coming into the season, I figured they'd be an undervalued point spread team. And teams like that, I'm looking to take them in certain spots like this where they have to step up in class because Atlanta should be up for playing this Brooklyn Nets team with all the star power they have. What do you think, C-Mac, Atlanta, Brooklyn?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Hawks are the side here with the plus points. I don't know if I can get there to the window with them. And 239 is, wow, that's a huge, number. I think we can get over as well. I just, like you said, I'm tiptoeing here the first week. They've just been crazy, these games. But I could see it easily. The Nets have been scoring in bunches, with Durant and Irving. I think both could get in the 120, so it's not out of the question. It's just when I start seeing, 240s, it's like, I bump the brakes a little bit. So I lean both the over and I take the Hawks. I think 6 is a little high, but early on these point spreads, I see the Nets come out and blow them out. The Hawks are not the same team as they are at home. You know what I mean? Over the year, they just at home they're a little bit different. I know no fans, but just even now, I think they're a better home team than on the road. But grab the plus 6, I would with the Hawks.
Charlotte Hornets, Dallas Mavericks. So we've got Dallas 8-point favorites at home here, total 225. That was about flawless from Dallas, and in a game that they were fired up to play against the Clippers because we know the Clippers bounced them in the first round of the playoffs in the bubble last year. And this just handicapping 101 says this isn't the value spot to be betting Dallas. It's just not. Okay, they're laying 8 after a perfect game against the Clippers where they just rolled and romped and just completely annihilated the Clippers in that game where everything was falling offensively. It was just one of those games where everything was working for Dallas. It's difficult to envision them playing, anywhere close to as good as that tonight. Now they come back home. They play Charlotte. It's not exactly an exciting opponent. And they're banged up. Again, Kristaps Porzingis still hasn't played a game yet. Looks like Josh Richardson for the Mavericks, offseason acquisition. Looks like he is questionable as well for this game tonight due to injury. I would lean to Charlotte a little bit here. I know Charlotte's been a bit disappointing. They had the loss to Cleveland. They lost at home to Oklahoma City and really were trailing most of that game. The fact that even with Kevin and KD, I get it, Kevin Durant and Kyrie were out for Brooklyn when they beat them 106-104 last night, but they finally get a win. They're off the schneid. I think a little bit of confidence. I still think there's some hope for Charlotte. I don't think they're as good as Atlanta or some of these other teams in the East that are improving, I think, this season, but I do think Charlotte still, as time goes on, going to be an improved team. And this is the role for Charlotte as an underdog. They're 8-0-1 ATS last 9 games as an underdog dating back to last year. And that includes that lousy Charlotte team that they were last year. So they have been excellent underdogs. They're getting a lot of points here because they're playing a really good Dallas team. I think Charlotte can hang here. I don't trust Dallas to follow that up against the Clippers. That was a game that they were fully focused on, played a great game. May not be as easy here in a little bit of a flat spot back home against a run-of-the-mill Hornets team. So I like Hornets a little bit, +8. What's your thoughts, Connor?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd lean it as well. I like the under a little bit better. I know the Hornets are going to score better than they did last year. They had times during the year last year where they couldn't score at all. It was a real struggle, and unders were big. I still think it's unders for them as well. Hayward, they got a few better pieces. We'll see how much he can score. I think they could score a little bit more than last year. But I like the under here and the 8 points. In Dallas, I like the under because if they get hot, it'll go over. That just, how they were the other night when everything's going in. But Doncic, they got to rely on him all the time. Sometimes, he gets banged up. There's not enough around him, I don't think. Unless they're really, really hot. So I'd lean with the points with Charlotte. I think 8's a lot, and I'd lean the under here, 225.
Yeah, John Morant, apparently, Spencer's saying in the chat, and it's funny because the jump is on my television screen because I had the bowl game on earlier, and 3 to 5 weeks, so big blow for that Memphis Grizzlies team in terms of John Morant's availability, which isn't going to be anytime soon, out 3 to 5 weeks. Lakers and Spurs, we've got the Lakers 6-point road favorites, 229 the total. I don't make a habit of betting against the Lakers off a loss. I just, flat out. I mean, we usually would think LeBron. Now the question for the Lakers is who's in tonight. Is LeBron going to play? Is AD going to play? It's always a question you have to ask yourself, especially considering, if I'm not mistaken, they're playing San Antonio the next game as well. The same two teams playing each other. So this is always going to open the door for maybe you rest your big guys like LeBron and AD in one of these games. Is it this game or is it going to be the next game? So it's dicey, but just conceptually, I'm not looking to bet against LA after they lose a game. And we know what happened the other night against Portland. They fall short against the Blazers as the Blazers really played well down the stretch, both ends of the floor to close that game out. It's an interesting game from a total standpoint because if you've been watching San Antonio this year, man, they're flying up and down the court. I think they're playing as fast from a pace perspective and possessions perspective per game as they've ever played. Popovich. I mean, they are just going up and down the court. They don't have a ton of great defenders as it is. DeMar DeRozan's an okay defender. Rudy Gay plays no defense. There's a lot more offensive-minded pieces on this team than defensive-minded pieces. LaMarcus Aldridge just doesn't have the quickness anymore to be that elite defender he was earlier in his career. DeJounte Murray is another guy that's more of an offensive weapon than a really great plus defender. So to me, it makes sense for San Antonio. I want to bet them over. I lean over the total here in this game, but Lakers off a loss usually means Lakers dig in defensively. So that's the one thing that's kind of holding me back a little bit. But I would lean a little bit over the total. Would only look to the Lakers side. But again, want to see who's in with, or if potentially they're missing one or both of LeBron or AD, which again, you're going to have to ask yourself that question with every Laker game this year. C-Mac, what's your thoughts here, Lakers and Spurs?
Yeah, the big question is Lakers off, the loss. They're really, really good. One thing I think this year, though, I'm with you. I'm not going to go to total. I'd lean over a little bit because how San Antonio has been playing. I don't think the Lakers are that good defensively. Like I said, from last year, losing Dwight and McGee and bringing in Harrell and Gasol. I mean, Gasol's okay altering shots, but he's on the downside of his career. You talked about Aldridge, kind of the same thing. They're, so I lean it that way. I lean the Spurs a little bit. I think 6 is a lot at home, but I don't know, love it because the Lakers getting off a loss. I lean San Antonio and the over. Well, wait, I think they both play this game, but you never know. Sometimes they sit this first one, like you were just talking about, Ian. One of them might sit tonight. LeBron's ankle might be sore, and he could sit. Yep. So you got to watch all the way up till game time here in the NBA until you bet it. But I think 6 is a lot. I think Lakers might win this, but it'll be close. And I might lean over. It's once it's 2:30. I think this is right about right. 2:29. But I'm going to watch the Lakers the rest of the year. We were talking about with Skee. He thinks the same thing.
He thinks they're being over team. He said that, on the closing line show the other day with me. They think the Lakers might be more of an over team. He doesn't think they're quite as good defensively this year. They're probably even better offensively with a lot of the
with Schroeder
brought in. With Dennis Schroeder's played excellently. Spot for them, no question. He gives them more punch scoring wise from that position on the floor, no question. And we know San Antonio more offense than defense and playing really fast. So that's why I lean over the total here with the Lakers and the Spurs. All right, moving on. Next, we've got in this one, we've got next one, I should say, we've got Portland and the LA Clippers. We've got the Clippers 4.5 point home favorites here in this game. Total 226. This one I might lean under the total a bit. Portland seems to match up a little bit better with the Lakers than the Clippers. They showed it the other night. Clippers a little bit different. They struggled a lot more with the Clippers. Is Kawhi Leonard going to be back? That's a big question. I think if you think he might play, lock in the Clippers now because you could have actually had them 3.5 earlier. 4.5 now. I get the sense he might be in there, and if he's in there, they might win this game. I know they played last night on the back-to-back, but it was essentially a walkover game against Minnesota. I really liked the Clippers last night in that game. I took them first half game against Minnesota, and it was just as easy as it got. But again, Clippers I don't think have played back-to-back yet this year, and for that first back-to-back, it's always tough. Because, again, when you're in the rhythm and you've played a few back-to-backs already, you kind of know what to expect. When you've been off for as long as they've been, and then you're playing the first back-to-back, like the Clippers are tonight, like the Bucks are tonight. I worry about those teams in this kind of spot. But I think matchup-wise, it's short enough of a number I could see them winning and covering. Don't put it past Portland, though, because they had the stinker against Utah, bounced back. They survived an ugly win against a shorthanded Houston team. But they were a lot better against the Lakers. I really liked seeing the way they defended down the stretch in that game. That's what they're going to have.
I was shocked. Yeah, I was shocked. I had that over. Yeah,
they've got the scoring for days. Can they defend? That's always what you worry about with Portland. They did against the Lakers. They're going to have to tonight. So it's a game with a lot of variables in it. I think if Kawhi plays, the Clippers probably win and cover. And even if he doesn't, nobody played extended minutes in a blowout against Minnesota last night. So for a back-to-back, as much as I'm concerned about it, Clippers are set up better than a lot of teams would be on a back-to-back. They got their starters off the court down the stretch of that game last night. What do you think, Connor, with Portland and the LA Clippers?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you with Kawhi. I don't know. I mean, of course it's big, but it'd just be more minutes for Reggie Jackson, Batum, guys like that. Decent, players. I lean Portland a little bit. If this keeps going up, if Kawhi's in, maybe it goes up to 5. But you're right. The matchup is different. I think Portland, matches way better with the Lakers than with the Clippers. I'd still go with Portland, especially if it gets up to 5.5. I'd lean a little bit that way. And on the total, no real feel. Portland, I still don't think is great defensively, and they can have lapses. I was just shocked that Lakers couldn't score and how that defense they played. Portland. I just missed it by a bucket getting the over there. And you got the whole rivalry with Paul George and Lillard. So we'll see how that plays out. And there's a weird thing, even though they've had a day off, is the whole LA trip, play the Lakers, the Clippers teams, and they got the day off hanging out in LA. And how focused are they off that big win? So this one's kind of keeping me out too. You nailed it. It's a variables thing. You can look at it a few different sides. Clippers, Kawhi, they cover, but it's a back-to-back, Dame. So kind of a toss-up here. I can see both sides. I still lean if it gets over 5 with Portland, but I don't love it. That'd be my only lean.
And I have to ask myself this. I cashed with the Clippers last night. Do I want to get involved in the Clippers game again
Me
tonight?
too.
Certainly not from a Clippers. I found last night was the value spot with the Clippers. A bad team off a just embarrassing loss to Dallas on Sunday. You figured you were going to get, even without Kawhi, I figured they're still good enough. They're going to be motivated enough to just kick the snot out of Minnesota. And that's exactly what they did. Now tonight against a much better Portland team, to me, it's not as good of a value spot for the Clippers. They were focused. They just put the boots to Minnesota. Now they might be without Kawhi again, and they're playing a much better team, and they're off a satisfying blowout win. Yeah, that's not the same quality bet on spot tonight, in my opinion, for the Clippers that it was last night. So, yeah, that's all the thoughts that are running through my head when you cap each game, and that's the thoughts that were going through mine. Looking at this Portland Clippers game. We'll get to best bets at the end of the show. We're quickly before we wrap up because we're keeping the show shorter today. Connor's got to run in a few minutes, filling in last minute for Skee. Bowl games. I'll just run quickly through what I'm looking at. We're looking at Tulsa to beat Mississippi State tomorrow in that Armed Forces Bowl. I like Army plus points against West Virginia. Army always shows up in bowl games. When's the last time Army has played a bad in a bowl game? I can't even remember. They always show up. Army's defense is good. And number two, when they struggle on defense, Army, Connor, speed, wide receiving weapons, good quarterback, that throw it all around the place, or the teams that shred them. West Virginia doesn't have that. They don't have speed. They don't have great playmakers. They don't have a great quarterback. Jarrett Doege's up and down, and West Virginia's got a couple defensive opt-outs as well, and trying to prepare for the triple option. And it's something they don't see very often in the Big 12. I like Army plus the points there in the Liberty Bowl. New Year's Day, I'm going to buy into the rhetoric that Cincinnati will show up instead of be disappointed that they're in the bowl game against Georgia. I think they will show up. I look to them plus the points, and I'm going to look at that as a sneaky over 50.5, because as good as Cincinnati's defense is, they're facing a really good Georgia offensive line. JT Daniels is on fire down the stretch. I don't think they're, even with Cincy's elite, really good defense, I don't think they're shutting down Georgia. And Georgia's defense can be had. They're not as good as they've been in years past. And I think Desmond Ridder and the Bearcats can move the ball, put up points. So sneaky over and Cincy points in that game. The playoff games, I don't feel strongly about either one, but I'm leaning over with Notre Dame, Alabama in the Rose Bowl, because I think Notre Dame's offense can actually have some success. Alabama got picked apart by Florida a little bit, and Notre Dame's going to have trouble, I think, against Alabama's offense like everybody else. It's too many points for me to lay with Alabama in this spot. It just is. Like for a semifinal game, you got to lay 20. That just seems rich to me. I actually lean Irish, but I don't have the guts to actually take the points with them. But I'll look over for a little bit, 65, and I'll lay the points with Clemson. I just think they're a lot better than Ohio State. And 15-3 straight up and against the spread, Connor. That's Dabo Swinney in bowl games, ACC title games, and playoff games combined. 15-3 straight up and against the number. You want to go against that track record? Knock yourself out. I'm not going to do it. Connor, what do you think about these bowl games tomorrow and Friday? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I got to say, this line, Oklahoma is all the way up to 9, huh? 8.5. Wow. Traska's still in, right?
They're saying, apparently there's people on Twitter saying he might not play at all, or just play a quarter, or just play I don't know what the hell he's doing, but
that might keep me off it. Yeah.
Look at it. It's already up past I got +3 on this game. I sent it out at +3. I mean, talk about freaking closing line value. What point do I middle, or do I middle?
Yeah. You got a nice to work with. This might be the spot, I'm with you. I think Army could hang. I wish I could get a 7.5 there. You're right. West Virginia doesn't throw it around. I think Army can hang in that game. I'm on Tulsa. I like a money line there. I know Ball State. They've never won a bowl game, and I still don't think they win a bowl game. I'm going to ride, as long as you get under 10, I'm going to go with San Jose State. I know people are hot.
Against San Jose.
I'm not going either.
All year with them, yeah.
We've rode them all year. I'm not going away from it. Get a 9.5 before it gets to 10, just to be safe, I think. And they're out there. this team, I think, gets it done. And everyone's kind of saying, well, Ball State, they're talking about it. They're 0-6, 0-7. Well, what were they 0-2? They talked about it. They're 0-3. I know it's a different coach, but they always talk about that, we're rah crap. But I go San Jose State. Another one I liked, I was going to take another team we were on all year during the show was Arkansas, and that got canceled, right? I love that game. I like them, the points and money line. Sucks that got canceled. I'm with you with Cincinnati. I like them there. I'll take the points with Cincinnati. I think they can hang in. I just don't love it, but I like it enough. I think I'll get there. We'll see if the line moves up before game time. That's about it. I'm gonna stick. You said you didn't want to go Alabama. Lay in the 20 though. I'm gonna go first half of the game like I have all year.
Yeah,
I think they jump. I think they jump on the Irish. A little bit lean on that over 65. Like you said, I think Ian Book that. I think they should be able to score a few touchdowns. 2 or 3. Because I think Alabama hangs 40 at least. And I'm with you on Clemson. Wish it was under a touchdown, but Ohio State can't stop a nosebleed. I think they'll be able to score, but I think Clemson will. This one could get over as well. But I think Clemson will make enough plays defensively, and I think they win by more than 10. I'm on Clemson with you as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The thing, I don't want to bet the under in the Ohio State Clemson game, but the thing that concerns me about the over is Ohio State getting shut down for well over a half by Northwestern in that Big Ten.
That was. You're right.
I love that game out. I like Northwestern against Auburn. I think they are the way more excited and enthusiastic team to play that bowl game than Auburn is. Auburn's already got some opt-outs as well on both sides of the ball earlier this week. So the writing could be on the wall. You might have the more excited Northwestern team. I'd rather lay -3 than 3.5, but I absolutely would only look to Northwestern as well in that game. So there's our bowl looks. We'll break down the Saturday bowl games on the Saturday closing time show at 11 a.m. Eastern, and along with college basketball. We'll wrap this show up now with best bets. Look, this is like lukewarm bet. I don't know if I want to call it best bet. It's lukewarm bet. It's all small bets for me in the NBA, but we got to call one a best bet. I will call what should we go with for best bet? Let's go with Atlanta here. I like the Hawks +6 against Brooklyn. Best of the best, I guess. If I had to pick one, it would be that one. Atlanta +6 against Brooklyn. Best bet. Connor, what about you for NBA best bet?
I'm going to go with the Heat, and I'm going to wait. Like you said, maybe it goes a little bit higher. At least 6. I like it. Butler, no Butler. I'm still taking the Heat +6. Even if they lose, I don't think they get blown out here. Give me the Heat +6. Let me hit up real quick. If you guys haven't, if you need another book, everyone needs multiple books here. If you're betting, go to MyBookie AG, hit promo code PubSports. You get 50% off your debit or credit. You get 100% off if you use Bitcoin. Use the Bitcoin. Put $1,000, they give you $1,000. So go to mybookie.ag, hit promo code PubSports. And also, if you need to get bulked up, go to bulksupplements.com. You get 5 to 10% off. Actually, it's 10% off your order. Just hit promo code PubSports, and you get all the vitamins, amino acids, all that good stuff to get you jacked up for the winter. No more fall. The winter, baby.
That's right. There we go. There's the sponsors. Support them and support the channel that brings you these great shows every single day. A reminder, tomorrow is going to be my last video show for this channel for the year. It's Football Frenzy, Ian Cameron's Football Frenzy. Every Thursday, we've done it in the NFL season, 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. This is going to be it. This is my grand video finale for the year. We'll break down the Week 17 card, and you better believe this is a minefield, this NFL Week 17 card. Who's in, who's out, COVID issues creeping up, quarterback injuries, motivation, who cares, who doesn't. I mean, I'm at least going to try to give you as much of the psyche of these teams as I possibly can on the show tomorrow. On the Ian Cameron Football Frenzy show, breaking down the NFL Week 17 cards. So make sure you join me tomorrow, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific for that. And a reminder, Connor, hopefully Skee Profit as well, and me doing the NFL show on Sunday.
Yeah,
Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And again, to Skee Profit, who was going to be on the show today but can't due to personal reasons. That's why Connor's filling in. To Skee Profit, we hope you're doing all right, buddy. We hope whatever you're dealing with, you get through it okay, and we look forward to being back with you here on this show. That'll wrap it up. Connor, thanks for filling in on a last-second pinch. We'll be back. We'll be back with you, Connor and I, over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. We'll have closing time on Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, and then the NFL one Sunday at noon Eastern. And I will be back with you tomorrow for Football Frenzy, 1 p.m. Eastern. So tune in.
Check it out. It's great. You do great work with it.
Thanks, buddy. Good stuff. Let's cash some tickets tonight. NBA, college basketball, bowl games. This Oklahoma game, I feel like there's no way I can lose it with everything that's going on with Florida going into this game. But crazier things have happened. It is betting after all. For Connor, Mac, I'm Ian Cameron. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate you. Too many in the chat. Spencer, Elliot, Andrew, Dennis, Andreas, Jansen, Jeff Slaughter, the man that runs the ship here, Razor Sharp, everybody who does great work with the horse betting and shows and the live shows and everything. So good stuff on this channel. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you again this weekend for closing time, and I'll be with you tomorrow for the Football Frenzy. Have a good night, everybody, and Happy New Year.
Take care. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. 2021 can't be worse. It can only be better. Happy New Year, everybody. Have a good night.